Del Toro is well known for filming horror and fantasy creatures with emotional as well as thematic complexity. He is also known for making an object important to his films. His first films were Kronos and Mimic. He's always put real wars into a fantasy story. And today, we're going to discuss one of his unique creations, Hellboy. But before we begin talking about Hellboy, we should discuss his backstory a little bit. We should first look into his past and his history. So he is a unique filmmaker, mixing in things like fantasy, horror, gothic, as well as real-life history events into one. He, like most of us watching this film, is a passionate filmmaker at a very young age. However, in 2017, Del Toro's biggest accomplishment would be with his 2017 film, The Shape of Water. This won him his very first Academy Award for Best Director, as well as being rewarded for Best Picture. One of the visual styles of the film is the use of ancient ruins, demonic rituals, as well as terrifying creatures for the film's dark and mysterious atmosphere. Unlike most movies nowadays, aka Star Wars and Marvel, where they use green screening and CGI, Del Toro, for the most part, always made his creatures' designs real, for his main characters anyway. Like Hellboy, Abe. Throughout his movies, he's never really used CGI for his creatures. In Hellboy, one of the thematic choices is isolation. This is something Del Toro also did with The Shape of Water, where the main character feels like they're alone in the world, but then they find someone who's like them, or comes back to their life, and that way they realize they're not alone anymore. Another thematic choice is family.
I got family.
Yeah, I just said that, Dom. Thank you. Anyways, while Hellboy and Liz are called freaks, the whole movie, near the end of the day, they still have people that care about them and are willing to help them no matter what, such as Abe, Professor Broom, John, just to name a few. And they still got fans like that kid once. In Hellboy, one of the narrative techniques used in the movie is flashbacks. We can see people calling Liz a freak and throwing rocks at her. This is to show how Liz and everyone else is treated in the world who's like her. It's a lot like the X-Men movies in a way, actually, now that I think about it. Another narrative technique used in the movie is foreshadowing. Professor Broom tells John Myers that he doesn't have that much longer to live, and he wants John to take care of Hellboy once he's gone. By the end of the movie, Broom dies, and Myers fulfills what Professor Broom wants, and takes care of Hellboy at the end of the movie. One last technique used in the film is narration. At the beginning of the movie, Professor Broom, aka Hellboy's foster dad, is the narrator. However, near the end of the movie, it's John Myers who narrates. This is important because Broom was always looking after Hellboy, but after he passed away, it was John Myers' turn to take care of Hellboy as his father figure. One of the overall cinematic visions for Hellboy is the idea of mixing a real-life event or political party into a fantasy movie about creatures from the unknown. This is also another thing Del Toro has done well for in his movies. Hellboy with World War II, bringing Nazis into the modern world, and The Shape of Water being in the Cold War, with a sea creature being experimented on. Another cinematic vision for the movie is that it's a comic book adaptation, so he had to make it as close as the original source as possible, which he succeeded in. One of the camera shots in Del Toro's Hellboy is close-ups, to capture how characters are feeling, as well as their expressions of what they've seen. This is also used to show how important an object is. An example of this is Hellboy's big mechanical right arm, a chocolate bar to earn trust, and so on. Another shot that's used in the movie is low shots, to show how some characters stand up to others, not being afraid even if they are standing up to their superiors, for example. They use fast cuts whenever an action sequence is happening. An example of this is when Hellboy is fighting the second Samuel in the subway. They just cut so much in the action sequence. They also use dark blue lighting to show the dark location and timing of the day. When it's nighttime, so to hide the monsters as well as the Nazi. Even the beginning of the movie is shot in blue to show the rain and the location of the movie. They make certain scenes very quiet. This is used to build up tension and suspense, so that when the monster actually appears, the music gets intense and louder. and it's been built up to. This is also used in The Shape of Water before they showed the sea creature. Everything was quiet until it appeared in front of Elsa. One of the themes of the movie is love. Hellboy tries to tell Liz how much he misses and loves her, and that she's not alone in the world where they treat her as a freak. Another theme in the movie is trust, from Professor Broom giving Hellboy a chocolate bar to make him safe around him, as well as gaining his trust. Hellboy and Tom hated each other throughout the movie, then they start to respect each other over a cigar.
Thank you. Thank you.
One last theme in the movie is red. When Hellboy first meets the professor and everyone else, they all take a picture together. Everyone's grayish brown for the most part, but Hellboy sticks around as being red. Also, when the main villain is resurrected, he's also red. Now that is because of blood, but still. Even Liz's clothes is red when she's in custody. Del Toro has always given his creatures likable personalities, and Hellboy is no exception. Hellboy acts tough but is caring towards everyone, except his workers, of course. He rushes into things without thinking clearly. He stays calm, collected, and making wisecracks when fighting or in a stressful situation.
What the hell is that thing?
Let me go ask.
He also loves cats and a chocolate bar called Baby Ruth. Hellboy was one of the first movies in the early 2000s that's not a Marvel or DC adaptation. So it had to compete with very popular movies at the time like X-Men, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Christian Bale's Batman, and Superman Returns as well. When it comes to Del Toro's style of movies, it's evolved as well as remained the same throughout his filmography. Both his aesthetics for his creatures and settings, and the theme of loving a creature, have changed a bit throughout his movies. However, what remained the same is the storytelling place with real conflicts between two countries with a creature put into it, love interest between a human and a creature, and using practical effects for the most part, instead of CGI, have all stayed the same throughout Del Toro's life. Hellboy influenced other filmmakers to mix different genres together into a comic book movie, so like horror, science fiction, etc. It also showed that filmmakers can make any comic book adaptation into a movie, even if it's not as popular like Iron Man before the MCU, by the way, as well as a comic book movie or show, even if it's not Marvel or DC. An example of this that's done perfectly is The Boys, which you guys need to check out. I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Plus. Also, season 4 is coming out soon, so thank God. While Del Toro isn't one of my favorite directors, I do give him respect and give him so much credit for putting an actual effort into his creature designs. You know, unlike most Hollywood movies where they rely on CGI, which you can tell looks fake, he and a lot of other filmmakers put the actual time into making their creature designs. Even Five Nights at Freddy's did that too. And I do enjoy both his Hellboy movies, 1 and 2. Honestly, personally, I think the Hellboy series is a good... Okay, well maybe not that one. We don't talk about this one. Don't watch this one. Anyways, that's my take on Del Toro's Hellboy. I hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Unbuilt Zombie. See ya.